Here I am.
Shalom uvracha from Yerushalayim. We are privileged this evening to study together the Haftarah of Parashat Noach. Our Haftarah is taken from Isaiah 54, the 54th chapter of Yeshayahu, and in some communities also from Isaiah 55. The focus of our discussion will be Isaiah 54, verses 9 and 10. In our Parashat Noach, we read of the tragic flood that destroyed the entire world. And then we read of the divine oath never again to destroy the entire world through a flood. In our Haftarah, Yeshayahu cites the flood as an example of yet another divine pronouncement of a similar nature. Asher nishbati, kein nishbati. Just as the world will never again be destroyed through a flood, says Isaiah, similarly, in our Haftarah, God swears never to destroy the special divine covenant with the Jewish people. Uvrit shlomi lo tamut. Tamut with a tet. Uvrit shlomi lo tamut. Taf mem vav tet. The covenant of my peace with the Jewish people will never be removed. It will remain forever. The models of permanence that Yeshayahu chooses in the name of God, realities that are seemingly the most firmly based on earth. But, says the prophet, even if somehow they do not endure, my loving covenant, my loving connection with the Jewish people will continue forever. Let's read together Isaiah 54, verse 10, from our Haftarah. Ki heharim yamushu, v'hagvaot timutena. For even if the mountains will be uprooted. Now, mountains generally are very strong, strongholds. They don't move. You can't move a mountain. But even if conceivably one can conjure up an image of a mountain being uprooted, God forbid, it can happen through various forms, maybe of earthquake. Even if the mountains will be uprooted, even if the mountains will depart, v'hagvaot timutena, even if the hills will be removed, one reality will remain forever. The chasdi me'itech lo yamush. Despite any kind of happening with any other kind of force, there's one force that will remain forever. God promises an eternal covenant of kindness, chasdi, with the Jewish people. The people of kindness will experience the covenant of kindness. My chesed, says Hashem, my kindness, my faithful love will never depart from you. There were those who mistakenly thought, and maybe some of them still think, that God has rejected the Jewish people. Heaven forbid! In several places in Isaiah, the prophet emphasizes the teaching of the covenantal connection continuing with the Jewish people indefinitely. It's important to note that Harim u'Givaot, mentioned in our text, Ki Harim Yamushu v'Hagvaot Temutena, the mountains and the hills, both in the Talmud and in the Midrash, the rabbis read and understand Harim u'Givaot not only on a literal level of mountains and hills, but they also read it as symbolically representing the towering figures, the towering spiritual mountainous giants of our people. In several places, the Midrash seems to associate the notion of the word Harim, Hey, Resh, Yud Mem, meaning mountains, with the word in Hebrew, which means parents, the word Horim. Harim, Horim. And they somehow see a connection between Harim and Horim. See, for instance, the Midrash Rabbah on Breshit 68:2, where the famous verse of Psalm 121, Esa enai el harim, I lift up my eyes to the mountains, is understood homiletically in the Midrash to mean lifting one's eyes to the parents of our nation. Esa enai el ha-horim, seeking from the parents, from the horim of our nation, proper guidance and instruction. Accordingly, in the Talmud Yerushalmi, if you're interested, it's in the 10th chapter, Mishnah Aleph, Sanhedrin Yud Aleph, as well as Midrash Vayikra Rabbah 36:6, as well as in Yalkut Shimoni on our verse. All these sources seem to read our text as some connection to the fathers and the mothers of our nation. Rashi, in his commentary on Isaiah, also quotes this. God promises to be with us forever. And even if we think that we cannot merely rely upon the great actions of the past, the great chesed activities of Am Yisrael of the present and future will serve to keep the Jewish people going forever. Ki harim yamushu v'hagvaot mutena. We rely so heavily upon the great merits of our fathers and mothers, of the avot and the imahot of Am Yisrael. But what happens if we don't have their merit anymore? Says the Gemara, says the Midrash, Im ra'ita zchut avot shamata, u'zchut imahot shenitmoteta. Even if we, God forbid, have used up all of the merits of the great fathers and mothers of our nation, the mountains are no longer, the hills are no longer. One type of perpetual Jewish activity will continue to bring perpetual blessing. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, B'ni, im ra'ita zchut avot shemata, u'zchut imahot shenitmoteta. There's one type of mitzvah that if you do, there's one type of mitzvah that the Jewish people is involved in, which will bring eternal blessing. L'chu v'yitavku b'chesed, lech v'yitafel b'chasadim. Go and occupy yourselves with the pursuits of chesed, with acts of loving kindness. That will continue to bring the blessing beyond the mountains, beyond the harim, beyond the gvaot. Ki harim yamushu v'hagvaot temutena. Even if somehow they're no longer there, and you cannot rely upon them, but v'chasdi, chasdi, from the word chesed, v'chasdi meitech lo yamush. Since you follow the pathways of my chesed, imitati odei, you follow the chesed of Hashem. Since you occupy yourselves with chesed, uvrit shlomi lo tamut, never will the covenant be nullified. Why specifically chesed? Many mitzvot that the Jewish people are involved in. V'chasdi meitech lo yamush. Why is it that chesed has this great power and property to continue the blessings forever? Chesed is the foundation of the world. Ki amarti olam chesed yibaneh. The psalmist in Psalm 89 speaks of how the entire world is built on chesed, through chesed. The secrets of the continued levels of blessings of Am Yisrael are connected to the ongoing chesed. Am Yisrael represents the values of chesed. As such, they survive all the destructions of the world because their kindness is beyond description and also beyond destruction. Never will the world be destroyed through a flood, and never will Am Yisrael be destroyed because they're connected to Chasdi. For they all are actualizing in their lives the values of Chesed in the world. May we appreciate the steadfastness of our mountains and hills, Avot and Imahot, and still realize the level beyond, the level of Chesed, V'chasdi me'itech lo yamush, amam rachamech Hashem. God is the ultimate level of Chesed, kindness, and Rachamim, compassion, and bodies and connects, bonds with us, bonds with our nation, who embody these values essential to our existence. Thank you so much for listening. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu open forever and ever the gateways of bracha to Am Yisrael, uvrit shlomi lo tamut. Thank you.